Hey, everybody, we've made it to episode 3 of the Equip, Encourage, and Empower series. I hope that you've seen Equip, and I hope you feel equipped from the words of my mom and granny and my favorite author. I hope that you watched episode 2 and that you laughed, and that your heart and your soul and your inside felt encouraged as we laughed and had good times together. The third is Empower, and Empower can sometimes take on a more serious tone for me because I often think about what gives me power and strength to keep up in the work that I do. When I think about you guys that work with the Special Olympics, you guys empower me. You do. Because the work that you do is so noble and so amazing. The athletes, your strength and endurance and your courage, wow, you empower me. But there are some things that I do just on a day-to-day basis that empower me too. And I can imagine as you are out there empowering others through the Special Olympics that sometimes you need to take a step back and empower yourselves. And so today, what I thought I would do in this video is to share some things that I do that empower me personally. And maybe you take a moment to reflect and make your own list of things that empower you as you listen to me talk about the things that I do. I don't know how much y'all know about me out there in the world, but I'm a busy guy. I do lots of different things. I work for several colleges and universities across the state where I teach this semester. I teach over 150 students, some of them in person, some of them in a hybrid class, some of them fully online. I also just wrote a book that published back in the summer of 2020. Some of you may have it, called The Playful Classroom. And just this past week, I finished my second book that will be out in July. And that's really cool work, and I love it. But when I'm doing all of that work, I pour from myself constantly pouring from myself. And you may have heard the phrase before, you can't pour from an empty cup. Like, hold on, I got a cup right here. There's nothing in it. But if I pour, right, if you can't pour from an empty cup because there's nothing in it. So the way that you are able to keep pouring into your team as an athlete, or your team as a coach, or your team as a volunteer, or to the Special Olympics administrators, all of you, you have to empower yourself with moments of growth and reflection so you can fill your cup back up so you can keep pouring and helping others. And some of the things I do to empower myself, and one of the things is write. Not just the book that I mentioned, but I have a journal here. Check out some cool stickers that I have there. But this is my journal, and I write a lot in it. You can see I write a lot. There's pictures. Sometimes I doodle. Sometimes I draw in there. But writing is very therapeutic for me. It helps me to get my thoughts out when I'm sad, when I'm angry, when I'm happy. Another thing that I like to write my thoughts down in is letters. Yeah, I like to write letters to friends and family and to make them happy. But also, I like to write letters to legislators, the people who make the laws and help funding for schools and Special Olympics and things like that. It helps me to feel empowered when I put my words on a piece of paper. There's power in the pen, in the written word. So that encourages me, makes me feel empowered to do that. Another thing that I really try to do that helps me feel empowered is to make good choices about the food I eat. Because I don't know about you, but when I eat junky food, it makes me happy for a little bit because it tastes so yummy. Ooh, I love it, right? But if I eat a lot of junky food, it makes me feel sluggish. It makes me feel tired. So to feel empowered, I try to make good choices about my eating. Every day for lunch, I try to make sure I have an extra healthy lunch. Usually it's a salad or some fruit and a sandwich, a good healthy sandwich on like some wheat bread or something like that. I really try to focus on that. If you know me and you followed me for a long time, I've been on a healthy eating journey for quite a while, and it makes me feel better when I choose my food wisely. Another thing that really empowers me is when I create. And you can see here, you may have been wondering through all these episodes, where am I videoing? I'm actually standing in my home office. And I'll step out of the way so you can see this wall here. But there's lots of things back here that I have created. I'll show you this one. You might not have seen that, but this is a little tiny one. This was a stick I found one day while I was out for a walk, and I said, "Oh my, that looks like a bird." And I came home and painted it and made it into a bird. I'll use this as a pointer. You see, it's another bird up here at the top, that purple bird. Yeah, I made that with a piece of wood that I found walking one day, and these feathers are strips of bark that I found out in my yard that had fallen off my dogwood tree. Another thing that I created right here is I read a book about Rainbow Row in Charleston, and I wanted to make my own Rainbow Row. And if you were seeing it closely, I put different patterns on the roofs of the buildings here, and I just made that on a piece of cardboard. Let's see, something else I created up here. It says create, and you see the letters are empty, and all around it's empty. But over here on the far side, you see that I have some doodles on there. I take it down and just doodle on it from time to time, and eventually it'll be finished. One of my favorite creations is this right here. It's a hot air balloon that I fashioned together using grocery bags, just plastic grocery bags. I painted them, and then the basket here is one of those little containers that mushrooms come in, and I just painted it. Yeah. And then you see right here, you probably can't see it good. Let me take this out of the way, this candle and this little art mannequin here. You see this picture here. This here is a self-portrait that I made after I learned about an artist named Romero Brito. And so I wanted to copy his style of art, you know. And then there's other things that people have made me on the wall. I just love creations. Oh, I just saw one just off the camera. I'm going to turn you just a little bit so you can see it. I've been creating as a form of empowerment for a long time. This right here, I don't know if you can see it really well, but it's a toucan that I drew when I was in the 3rd grade, and it went to the county fair, and it was a big deal. I was really proud of it, and my mom had it framed for me just a few years ago, so I could hang it up on my wall of creation here. So creating empowers me. It really empowers me to create, like I said, with things that I find, like the stick and the wood and the plastic bags. I feel empowered when I can take things that would normally just be rubbish, be trash, and create art and make something really special out of it. So creating empowers me. Another thing that empowers me, and it kind of goes along with the twig and the wood up here, is I love to go for a walk. You know, every time I go on a walk, I find something new in my neighborhood, or I find something new on the trail that I go to. It keeps my brain active and refreshed, but in a way that empowers me to use my creative juices, and I just love to go for a walk. I hope that wherever you are, that you love to go for a walk. But you know, all these things that I've talked about, writing and choosing my food wisely and creating and going for a walk, you don't have to do those things. But I hope that you've been thinking about your own list of what you do, what empowers you, what makes you feel empowered. Another thing that empowers me, that I know empowers all of us, because we're humans and we all need this, is rest. Athletes, after a long, hard day of training or participating in games, you need rest. After a long day of coaching and volunteer, you need rest. Families, you need rest. Families, you need your space and your time when it's time to go to bed at night. You need that. Your body needs that. All of us, teams need rest. All of us need rest, and that's one of the most important things for me. I'll be honest with you. I'll be very personal. The last few weeks, I've been going to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then getting up early. When I get up early, I feel rest and refreshed, and I feel empowered to take on the new day. And I hope that you feel empowered from just listening to the things that I talk about. I hope you've been making your list of things that empower you, and you conquer those, you go after those. And at the end of this episode 3, I hope you feel equipped and encouraged and empowered. I would love to hear what you think about the 3 episodes. They're just little smidgets of time. The first one's 8 minutes, the second one's 11 minutes, and this one's going to come in right at 10 minutes. I didn't want to take too much of your time, but I wanted to share some equipping and encouraging and empower with you for this year's annual leadership conference for Special Olympics of South Carolina. Have a great conference, and hopefully I'll see you in person next year.